So when African Americans go missing, you may not hear about it right away. That's the truth. The second-grade teacher in New Orleans went missing 2 weeks ago. The search for 26-year-old Terrell Monette did not get huge media attention until just a few days ago. Missing person cases involving whites, especially white children, often get massive amounts of national media coverage. Why do missing African Americans get less attention? Derek Wilson, the co-founder and CEO of the Black and Missing Foundation, joins me now from Washington. Why is that, Derica?
Well, a lot of times, people like to associate missing children as runaways, and so they're not getting the news coverage. And when it comes to missing adults, they like to classify them as some sort of criminal activity, so their news is not worthy as well.
Yeah. You worked in law enforcement before starting this foundation. What obstacles did you face when investigating cases involving missing African Americans?
We've had numerous cases to come to our attention where law enforcement simply didn't even take the police report. So that raises a huge challenge for us in helping these families, with some of the news media coverage. Some of the decision makers tell us that our stories are just not newsworthy, but we continue to pound the pavement and create partnerships with media, partnerships with law enforcement to help these families. Because at the end of the day, it's not just the sole responsibility of law enforcement. It's law enforcement, the community, the media. We all play a very important role.
Let's talk, and listen, I know we're talking people here. When I say numbers, I know we're talking people, but let's talk numbers here. How many people go missing in the United States every year, and how many of them are African Americans?
Well, last year alone, over 600,000 people were reported missing in the United States, and 40% of those reported missing were persons of color.
And the media coverage, do they balance out with that?
Oh, absolutely not. One of the things that we like to say, less is more. Less of one particular race and more of everybody else that's missing, greater the reunion, because we're not trying to dishonor any community. We just want an even playing field. Whether you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, everyone deserves that equal coverage.
What about in the case of Terrell Monette? What do you think of? Do you think that law enforcement is doing enough? And did you have trouble, because you pitched this story to the national media as well, right?
We were very successful in pitching the story. We had our partner Jackie Reed and Tom Joyner to cover the story, Newsroom and Ebony.com. With this particular case, I'm interested in knowing how soon did the police report get filed, if in fact her car as well as her information was entered into the NCIC, which is the National Crime Information Center. That's how we as law enforcement communicate. And then even though polygraph examinations are not admissible in court, I would be interested in knowing who those friends were with her at the bar that night, because it just seems really strange that this young lady would go sleep in her car and they would allow her to do so at 4 a.m. in the morning. Okay,
I've got to run here because just because of time purposes, but I've got to ask you one more question if the producers will allow. Let's just be blunt here. Why is it, do you think, that national media gives less attention in cases involving African Americans than whites? Is it racism?
I would say there's a phrase out there, the white women syndrome. If you're not with blonde hair and blue eyes, your stories are just not sensational enough, and we want to change that to create an equal playing field for all persons that are missing.
Derek Wilson.